I want to go back to the left or right vortex. That's the spinning. If the vortex spins to the left, that actually goes backwards. And then if the vortex spins right, that's looking into the future.
Take a look at the hurricanes. Destruction, devastation. I was doing a show here about 3 weeks before the Katrina hurricane, and the Cattell show that I was mentioning earlier out of Las Vegas, and we predicated that vortical movement, that energy coming that would change the face of humanity and learning to love. Whack! Here goes Katrina. What we had actually done is we had tracked a magnetic vortex moving up the valley of the Mexico. There's a gigantic asteroid laying down there, of course, in the Gulf of Mexico, and there's a very strong magnetic attraction to heavy water, but it's a reverse attraction magnetically. So it's got a pathway that it follows, and we saw that path going straight into New Orleans. So other things, this thing was predicated. Now there's more of these vorticals moving. What they used to call cone vortexes or lattice vortexes or ley lines, as you probably well know. These are all now in movement. They've been set afire. And so now is the time for resolution. When we took the picture of the water that we made from receiving these energies in deep space on a microscope that was loaned to my researcher from Stanford University there in Oklahoma, he took it 20,000 power and see these microscopic white iridescent vortexes forming all in the water, and then dropping tiny little white spheres of glistening iridescent light, little sparks, They would join together and make a flash, but they would reverse in the current of the water, showing intelligence according to the research, you see. Well, they are. They are. And that is inside of us. So I want more of that in me. I want to drink more water that gives me more intelligence and I can't do it with other ways. You see what I mean? That's the purpose of our work. Just basically clarification. Of what our purpose is, who we are, what our points are, and how we relate to others in the universe. It's all there. It's in our mind and our heart. We just, basically, we're door openers by washing it out, you see. I first went out and started discussing my product in 1979. Up and through the 80s, I did Spiritual Frontiers International retreats. I would go for a week and discuss this with 500 or 600 retreatants, and there was a group of people that would present new, unusual information. Then I was invited to the International Forum of New Sciences Conference at Colorado State University, sponsored by the International Noetic Society, to speak on this water. And so it progressed out. You see, it opened up its own way, as it were. I've just been kind of trying to hold on to the reins and sit in the saddle,
Wow, you've been working hard all these years.
Well, I've had a great curiosity about what the point of this thing is, Lauren, because I've seen it do remarkable things. One of the first things we ever did, 1985, I believe it was, I was doing a retreat up in North Dakota, and I had a gallon jug of warm water in front of 30 or 40 people in the room, and it was just warm water, a big glass jar. So I put about 15 or 20 drops of my star chamber water in the jar, and I was talking about how this energy is like a radio wave, that it would excite the water. Theoretically, we could project a wave of this energy through the room by, inoculating the water. And I said, and we can focus it on a chakra. Whereupon, I put 5 drops of alfalfa chlorophyll juice in the water. A wave of hot energy, later was claimed, went across the room, affecting people's hearts. 5 or 6 people walk away weeping out of the room, not being able to return to the room. We knew then and there that we had something that would do a projected energy. And since, of course, as you know on the website, we've developed all forms of tools and dream tubes and devices to open up the unconscious, the awareness. It's just been a plethora since then. Some of the information on the website, on the testimonials, are just absolutely remarkable, considering that, it's a true Delphic pole, and the people are known to one another all across the United States, reporting back with these tools and the colors, utilizing the color that we put into our water, into these little devices, and trigger off massive effects in the chakras, all the way through lucid dreaming to solution of everyday resolution of life, and how to improve my health by seeing foods I should have eaten. Wow. All of that was already in the people, the soul. Basically, our little tools are just basically a mirror, a reflection of self. Now we have a sky full of it, and it's going to move even quicker. It's quickening, as they call it in our work. It's a quickening going on, and it's not attached to the Maya in any way or Aztec in any way. Basically, they were tracking the end of their civilization through flood and detriment. We haven't really learned to read their calendar just yet because it's symbolic and sort of the crop circles. We've learned to read the Aztec calendar probably as well as we have the crop circles. When you think about that they've seen actual Aztec symbology in the crop circles, it kind of makes you wonder a little, you know. The thing that makes us very curious, that aside research, you mentioned earlier about receiving the energy. Why, you know, the original pyramids, I've actually seen video where, those pyramids were covered completely with mica, the mineral. Why, anybody with electronics knows that holds electricity. It gathers electricity until it's discharged through the plates of the mica. Isn't that interesting? They'd cover their temples with that. It gets better. When we do the research over the last 9 years, 8 years, we've set out here in the California nowhere up here by Mount Shasta and basically just let the information flow to us. And we've done remarkable things we have here.
Do you get the sense that time is quickening? Is that what you mean by quickening?
Our sense of time. A sense of time. You know, if we're out cold in the corner sleeping, we have no clue what the heck time it is. How will we know what time it is? But time doesn't change. You know, somebody has a clock on the wall somewhere, but if I'm sitting out on Phalon, mythical planet, there are no clocks. I am asleep, and what is time then? You understand? When quickening means awareness. Now I'm aware of why there's time. You see what I'm saying? Of course. Awareness is quickening, more awareness. And, of course, that's the whole concept of Star Chamber work, is bringing awareness to the people and health and healing through resolution, emotional and mental resolution. And, of course, since the years, about 1978 is when we hit out first, all these years we're working to accomplish those goals. And the beauty of having these tiny little devices, very inexpensive a little $5 tool. People take this thing and they, resolution, euphoria, plethora of ideology. Holy cow, you know, we're well in line with what's going on, the reality of things right now. Now, there's an actuality, and that's the quickening. People are ready, they're aware, they've made transformations, they're aware that we're not alone in the universe. I mean, come on. So what is this other information we can receive? Well, maybe we're all on AM and the information is on FM. That's our concept here. Well, maybe we ought to shift some folks up to FM and see what happens. Frequency modulation. Sure enough, we start sending out 200 of these dream tubes, and we shifted 200 people to FM, and take a look at the testimonials. Now, how about that? Isn't that interesting? They hadn't a clue what in the world they were receiving, Lauren.
Obviously, we're going through the shift as we go from the change of Pisces to the age of Aquarius. What is your vision of the future?
As you said, Aquarius, symbolic water. We've stirred the water. The water has been poured into the atmosphere. It's kind of like when you see the Aquarian symbology. Are we pouring water from the vase, as it were? That's the whole thing. The age of Aquarius is the water age. That's when the water begins to affect us, when we're more aware of the water. Can you pick up a magazine without hearing about water? Bad water, good water, tap water into bottles. It's a storm. Well, the water in our body, if you take that and separate it out, the plasma, the pure water, and you put that under a 20,000 power microscope, hopefully you'll see some right-moving vortexes. Well, if you're very ill, apparently you don't. If you're very healthy and you're running a marathon, there's vortexes all over the place. If you drank water from Lourdes Springs, there's so many vortexes you can't see them all. You see the idea.
Literally, you are the water you drink.
There you are. Well...
And then, as we know from Masaru Emoto, Dr. Emoto, that our thoughts really affect that water as well. So while we need to really watch our thoughts, we can certainly give ourselves a little head start by drinking the pure, fresh, charged water.
Well, yeah. And you know what else? Not only our thoughts, but others. When I hold a glass of water, and I'm shaking and vibrating because and then I hand that to you, and you're thank you, and you're sitting at a table somewhere at a restaurant, you drink that, next thing you know, it blows your skirts up. Well, that's because you put a vibration onto a molecule that's ignorant until you put a program to it. It will not accept the negative program. That's pollution. It's not just your water, but the idea is to clarify our water so we know it's, again, awareness.